Hey, Magic friends, welcome back. It's the Captain speaking, making a video for you. I still ain't in bed yet, even though I've got 2 hours before I hit my flight. Ugh. But making a video for Mondays on the or Tuesday. Hell, I don't know what day it is anymore. For Tuesday, as I'm flying all day, I won't get in late till to Indy. But once I get there, if I'm not just dead on my feet, I'll go around, shoot a couple shots, make a quick video for you guys of Gen Con. But in the meantime, let's talk about the top 10 standard cards for Midnight Hunt and my opinion of what's going to shape standard or break standard in the future to come. Remember, guys, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You want to see this stuff as it comes up, especially with Gen Con on the move. And with new standard popping off, this is going to be some serious stuff because they printed some wild cards in the set. So, trade tables and seatbacks into full upright position, boys, because we're going to take off into what you will see shape the standard future in my opinion. Caveat there. So, moving right along, we have honorable mention the Vales or Rockfall Vale. Well, actually, it's the whole land cycle, guys. So the whole land cycle here, they like to call them slow lands. So they come into play tapped unless you control two or more other lands. I don't know about you, but if you're playing two colors, the odds you draw one of these lands on the opening turn and come into play tapped is probably good. But all it takes is two lands in front of it, and it comes in as a dual land. You can't fetch it or anything like that. This is honorable mention because any deck that's remotely close to mid-range, that is not monocolor, will run these. These are going to be worth money. They're going to be worth money because of Commander. They're going to be worth money maybe even, well, they probably won't get into, they might get into Modern, who knows. They're going to be money in Pioneer, Brawl, all that good stuff. Historic, like these are going to be lands worth money. Now, how much and how big of an impact they make is going to be hard to tell. But I'm telling you guys, these things are going to be the bombs. Get you a playset 4 of each and don't get rid of them. You're going to need them. So, moving right along. Next, we have a sleeper of the set, Memory Deluge. I kept looking at this card, guys, and I'm like, it's just not good enough. But when you look at it, it is good enough. The problem is blue might not be good enough. So let's take another look at this card, guys. For 2 blue and 2, you look at the top X card of your library, where X is the amount of mana you spend on it. 2 into your hand, the rest on the bottom in random order. This is the other 4 mana spell, which I have not had, or I probably had too much caffeine to remember. Um, Factor Fiction, there we go. This is a Factor Fiction that they don't get to pick. They don't get to see what cards go into your hand. And on the off, and it's an instant, so you can do it at the end of their turn, which makes it even better because it has flashback. Yes, the flashback is 7, and that's horrific. But in Commander, that doesn't matter. And in Standard, this may not matter either. You may play 1 or 2 of these because it's just the nuts. Because if you think about it, imagine paying 7 at the end of someone's turn to look at the top 7 cards and put 2 of them in your hand, the rest on the bottom. The last time we had something that did that, it had Delve on it, and that broke it. This is the fixed version. I really like it. So, I think this is the sleeper, and if blue becomes a thing, especially blue control, this will be something serious to contend with. So, keep an eye on it, guys. Alright, now, without further ado, let's get in there and see what's going to shape up our standard. So, we have number 10, Adeline Splendid Cathar, and that's right, it's not translated because I couldn't find one, and I got tired of looking. But anyway, so it's 3 mana for basically a 1/4. It has power equal to the number of creatures you have. So it's only a 1/4 at worst. Now, every time it attacks, you get a creature comes into play tapped and attacking as well. And it attacks the same thing the opponent does. So at worst, it's a 2/4 on the swing. If you're playing White Weenie, you're going to drop a 1-drop. You're going to drop a 2-drop. And on 3, this is going to be a 3/3. And when you swing, it's probably going to be a 4/4. Unless they're killing your 1 and 2 drops. If they are, they're not killing this, which means you're going to remake your own army, which means this thing is the nuts. So it's really, really low on the list, guys, because even though I think this has a really high power level, it is legendary, and you can't double up on them. So that is a downfall. However, still the bomb. Every white deck will have at least 2. Should play forward, probably. So, moving on next, we have number 10. That's right, guys. It's Tolavar, the Dire Overlord. A green and red and 1 for a 3/3 is great on rate, and it's legendary. The reason why, again, why it's so low is it's legendary. You can only have 1 out at a time. However, werewolf and wolves that damage a player, you get to draw a card. First off, this thing is a werewolf. i.e., if you punch somebody with it, you're gonna draw a card. Plus, there's so many good wolf things. There's the hunt pack leader. There's the ranger class. Like, you will make wolves. It will happen. And you'll have them before you lay this. At least 8 wolves that are top notch, standard playable. Drop at 2. This drops at 3. It is bonkers good. Plus, you flip it to the other side, you get the same thing, except it's a 4/4. This card is just the bomb. It is low because, believe it or not, this is what I believe to be one of the weaker cards. Um, Now, that may be wrong to a point, depending on how you want to look at it, because don't get me wrong, I'm a big werewolf guy. But from a sheer power level, I just don't think it has it. Because it is easy to deal with as a 3/3. There's lots of good removal, so forth and so on. So, yeah, there's a thing. Um, yeah, moving on. Next here we have number 8. Light it up the night. That's right, baby. This is one of the best removal spells to print to date. Unfortunately, it's a sorcery, but thank God that it is. It'd be too good. It'd have to be a mythic. Basically, for red and X, X deals damage to any target. And if it's a non-creature, if it's a creature or planeswalker, you get X plus 1, which means you actually, if you spend 5 mana to cast this, 1 red and 4, it does 5 to creatures and planeswalkers, which is enough to kill them. Plus, it does have flashback, which removing loyalty counters from planeswalkers seems like a real waste of their abilities. But if you need to do it, then you need to do it, right? And there may be red planeswalkers that just run up their abilities, and the minuses might not be that good, and this may be a thing. So, who knows? But all in all, this is a great starter. 3 mana, 3 damage has always been good. 3 mana, 2 damage seems like a downgrade, but I mean, you're playing red. What more do you want in life? I think this is number 8 because it will deal with anything on the board as long as you got the mana to do it with. Moving right along. Next we have number 7. We got Geisa coming in all cackling and hot. She's the Glorious Resurrector. For 2 black and 2, you get a 4/4 legendary creature. Again, lower on the scale because you can only have one because it's legendary. But as a 4/4, if a creature an opponent controls dies, you exile it. At the beginning of your upkeep, put all creature cards exiled with Geisa onto the battlefield under your control and they gain decay. Seems really good. I mean, yeah, you swing with them once, they can't block, and when you swing with them, they die. But Black's got a lot of stuff going on where you can sacrifice creatures to get things done, and it just helps when you can just kill your opponent's creatures and sack them on your side. Or kill their best creatures so you get their sweet abilities on your side, and if you don't swing with them if the abilities are cool statics that you want to keep, or swing with them because they're just large and in charge and you want to punch the opponent in the face. So, I think this is number 7, and I think it's going to be a good one, guys. Moving right along. All right, we're starting to get into this stuff. It's adversary time, boys. So, number 6, we have the Intrepid Adversary. So, this thing is the bomb diggity. For a white and 1, let me say that again. A white and 1, you get a 3/1 with lifelink. Now, not only that, but if you pay another white and 1, you can do that any number of times, by the way. But let's say you pay for 4 mana. It gets what's it called, that thing? A Valor counter on it. Now, creatures you control get +1/+1 for each Valor counter on the adversary. So the adversary is still a 3/1, but because it has a Valor counter and it is a creature, it becomes a 4/2, 4/4, and it has lifelink. Let's not mention this thing is an anthem with legs. Glorious Anthem, other anthems, they all cost 3 mana now just to get all your creatures +1/+1. And some of those anthems are conditional, where you can only give it to certain creatures and not tokens or whatever. This thing is a creature that does it. Let me say that again. This thing is a creature that's an anthem. This is a lord for white. Do you get that, guys? White don't get lords. This is insane. Think about it like this. This is one of the cards that's probably going to be in my top 10 for Modern, because if you have a vial, you can snap this guy in on 2 when the vial's on 2, and then when it enters the battlefield, then pay your mana to give it Valor counters. Like, ugh. Pump team, punch face, win. And in Standard, this is going to be disgusting. White got a lot of push in this set, and amazingly, being Innistrad. But still, I think this is the best. An anthem with legs. I mean, yeah, they can kill it with creature removal, but guess what? If they're killing this, they ain't killing something else. So, this is my pick for number 6. Moving right along, we have number 5. That's right, it's adversary time again. It's the bloodthirsty adversary. So, 1 red and 1 for a 2/2 haster is fine. Red Rush needs that kind of thing. But if you happen to get to 5 mana, and in standard you will, when it comes into play, you can pay a red and a colorless. If you do, you put a +1/+1 counter on it for every red and 2 colorless you spend on it. And when you do, take a card out of your graveyard with mana value 3 or less, uh, and you copy them, you may cast any number of the copies without paying their mana cost. So basically, this says free cast. Plus, it gets bigger. It becomes a 3/3. Like Goblin Dark Dwellers, anybody? Yeah, it was a little bit bigger, right? But what are you gonna do if the game goes late and let's say you've got 6, 7, you got 8 mana for some ungodly reason, and all of a sudden you're dropping down a 4/4 with haste. You're gonna remove 2 things from the graveyard. You're gonna copy both of them and fire them both off. You're probably just gonna win the game. And a red and 2 for a 2/2 haster is just fine in standard. Plus with the extra ability, and it's a vampire. I think red black's gonna be a thing because of the sacrifice with vampires. Yada yada yada. This thing is the bomb, and it might even see modern play because free casting is so broken. Plus, Commander's gonna love this thing. With all just sink tons of mana into it and just go buck wild with this thing. So, also a lot of broken cards in Historic and Pioneer. You can really abuse this card for 5 mana. So, I'd be on the lookout for this. Yes, it's only number 5. That's because from here on out, stuff just gets stronger. So moving on next, we have number 4. It's another adversary. Who would have thought? It's the primal adversary for a green and 2. And here again, a wolf. It's a 4/3 with trample. That's okay. But this adversary, when you put a green and a colorless into him, gets a +1/+1 counter. So for 5 mana, you get a 5/4 with trample, which is great. For 7 mana, you get, math's hard, 6/5 with trample, which is also fine. But whenever you put a +1 counter on him, primal adversary, and you pay the extra, you turn the lands into 3/3 wolf creature tokens with haste. They're still lands. Yeah, they might be tapped and you can't swing with them, but if you got a Tolavar out, or if you don't, it don't matter, because if you've paid 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for this, you've just made a 6/5, a 3/3, and a 3/3. You just made, for 7 mana, 12 damage. Ugh. This thing is busted. People are going to want it in Commander. People are going to want it in Standard, Historic, Pioneer. I don't think it's good enough for Modern, but man, is it close. Man, is it close. So, number 4, guys. Moving right along. Let's see what made it in at number 3. That's right, Slaughter Specialist. A rare. I know what you guys are thinking. Captain, are you serious about this card? All right, first off, guys, let's see what it does. So, for a black and 1, you get a 3/3. Let me say that again. For a black and 1, you get a 3/3. That is bonkers good for a quick aggro deck. Now, the drawback is, when it enters the battlefield, each opponent gets a 1/1 human white creature. But whenever a creature and opponent dies, you put a +1/+1 counter on the specialist. And I don't know about you guys, but if you're playing black, you might have some removal. Pro tip. And that's just disgusting because it says when they die. So you can swing in with this. And when they're like, oh, I'm going to chump block with my 12 guys, or probably 3. I'm going to block with my 3 guys. And you're like, oh, well, I'll instantly pop off that one. Now this is a 4/4 and it can kill both your guys. So it kills both your guys. Now it's a 6/6. And you can go. And that's just on turn 3. That is disgusting. So, yeah, this thing is going to make some serious waves in Standard. Heck, this is going to see every format play. I'm half tempted to play this in Modern because Modern is nothing but removal. Yeah, this thing will die. Sure, it'll die. If it doesn't die, look out because they're about to punch you in the face really hard. Also, too, if you're playing against an opponent who doesn't have creatures and you have removal, if you play this, they have a creature, you have removal. It becomes a 4/4. Mission accomplished. So, I think this is really high on the power list of things that'll be going down in Standard. So, just saying. Next, moving right along. That's right, guys. We've got a 4-drop at number 2. It's the Moonveil Regent. Why is it at number 2? Well, let's do the math. For a red and 3, you get a 4/4 flyer. Busted already. Too much good. But whenever you cast a spell, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw cards for each of that spell's colors. If you're playing mono red and the red spell you cast in your hand is the last spell, you're just going to keep drawing cards every spell you cast because you not have nothing in your hand to discard. And if you have nothing in your hand that you even want, then you just discard it anyway because you need to draw. Like, this thing is nuts. And it's 4 mana, so it's hard to kill at 4 toughness. When it dies, it deals X damage to any target, where X is the number of colors among permanents you control. Probably going to be 1. Normally it'll be 2, probably. So, I mean, that could be the opponent. It could be a creature. This thing is just so good as a mythic. I mean, it starts... If this was 2 red and 2, I wouldn't be this high on it. But this thing is 1 red and 3. You can splash this in a monocolored deck with a couple mountains and some slow lands, as they call them. Or anything from a treasure, like, ugh. Or imagine playing, God, whatever that painter chick is, I forgot her name, where you get a treasure on 2, so on turn 3 you can play this thing on an all-black deck. Well, you have to have red to cast her, but anyway, that's not the point. That's not getting schematics here. Still, if you play this on turn 3, and you use the treasure, and she's still in play because they haven't killed her, which they'll be smart if they killed her, because if they don't kill her, you're going to get a 5/5. So they probably killed her, which means you still got a 4/4. Now they don't have a removal for this, which is also good. Do you see what I'm getting at here? It's good. So this thing is the bomb diggity. It's going to be good in Commander. It's going to be good in Standard. It's going to be good in Historic and Pioneer. You may see this go into Modern. For 4 mana, yeah, it's a little high, but this might just be the thing Jund's looking for. Because let's face it, guys. You know, all it takes in Jund is to cast 1 Maelstrom Pulse, and like, oh, I got 1 card in my hand. Oh, Maelstrom Pulse. Wipe your board. Discard my hand. Oh, wait, don't have 1. Draw 2. Like, it's just really amazing how good this card could be. Plus, it's 4 mana, so it doesn't get pushed. It's 4 toughness. It can't get bolted. Like, this may set the bar for power shift in Modern, let alone the kind of damage it's going to do in Standard, which I think is going to be high. All right, guys, so here we go. I've had the video going for a long time. I'm really sorry about that. Let's take a look at the number 1 video card in the video in the card. Anyway, the number 1 pick for what's going to shape Standard in the future, and you'll never guess what it is. That's right. Holy crap, is that a white card? That can't be right? We doing white cards today? Well, like, white card ain't good, right? Well, this one's good, guys. Look at this thing. Fateful Absence. For a white and 1, it's an instant. What does it do? It does everything. It slices, it dices, it makes julienne fries. This destroys creatures and or planeswalkers. You get to pick one or the other. So its controller gets to investigate. That's the drawback. They get a card, a clue, that for 2 mana, they have to sacrifice it for 2 mana and draw a card. Yes, it is card disadvantage. To a point. But this is white, guys. Like, this is like Path to Exile or Swords to Plowshare's better brother. Like, it's 1 more mana, but you get planeswalkers with it. And it's an instant. You can literally hold up removal for creatures and or planeswalkers in white. Why? I mean, they talked a lot about white not having a whole lot of love. White got some love in this set. I know you guys might not agree with this number 1 pick, but I'm here to tell you, Deck and Stone was a great card when it was in Standard. Yeah, it got multiple things, so that made it a lot better. But this is the exact same thing. It only gets 1, and it's an instant. The thing we always wanted. And I don't think Deck and Stone got Planeswalkers. I mean, you tell me if I'm wrong in the comments down below. I'm not going to go look because I've got too much caffeine in my blood system. But anyway, this card I think is number 1, guys, and I think it's going to be a beast moving forward. So, that's my picks for the top 10 cards that are going to entertain Standard and shake up the entire format with rotation. Tell me down in the comments down below what you think. Am I right? Am I wrong? Did I miss some? I'm not going to lie. There's lots of good cards. I had to cut some from this, and it made me very unhappy because I think this is a powerhouse set. Who said we can't get rid of power creep? Oh, yeah, Wizards of the Coast said that when they printed all this crap. But anyway, so until next time, guys, be kind. Hope to see you at Gen Con. I'm going to go try to lay down and sleep for 5 minutes. See you then.